guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. This is my November homeschool update video. So I'm going to be chatting about what went well in November, what we changed, we did make some big changes, and what we have coming up in December. So it's technically day 2 of Vlogmas, and during Vlogmas you're technically supposed to do holiday themed videos, but you guys are going to get homeschooling videos sprinkled in here throughout the month because it's what we do around here. So I will talk a little bit today about our December homeschooling plans, but that's about as holiday as we'll get for this video. In case you're new here, I'm Sarah. I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids ages 13, 11, 11, and a soon-to-be 6-year-old. My youngest turns 6 in 4 days. We've been homeschooling since my oldest was in kindergarten. I never thought that we'd be doing this, but the Lord put this calling on my heart, and I love looking back over the years and seeing how He has blessed us and grown us on this journey of obedience to Him. Okay, let's jump right in and talk about the big changes we made in November to our curriculum. You guys know that I have talked about wanting to make a change in our curriculum for next year and how I've been looking into some other options besides my father's world. This year we are using Creation to the Greeks. And so next year, if we stayed with my father's world, it would be Rome to Reformation. I really love my father's world. I used both of their preschool curriculums with my youngest son, and we are using their kindergarten curriculum right now. And I have also used the 1st and 2nd grade programs, and then we did Exploring Countries and Cultures last year. I loved all of those so much, and I will still highly recommend my father's world for new homeschoolers with younger kids. It was such a blessing to us when we first started homeschooling. However, this year, as we've been working through Creation to the Greeks, I just found myself not liking it as much. It's kind of hard to explain. It's not necessarily the content I don't like in the history curriculum, but just the curriculum overall has felt kind of choppy for me to teach. I don't love having multiple books we're going back and forth between during our history lessons. You know, the books in and of themselves are okay, but a couple of them are kind of difficult to use when teaching multiple kids at once, mainly because they aren't read aloud type books. And so it's hard for all of my kids to really read all the pictures and captions at the same time. So I've told you guys this before. This is the first year I've really not loved this curriculum. And really, most of what we have been using it for is history. There is a Bible portion which we've been doing, but we also use other curriculums for Bible, and so we've been kind of doubling up there. There's an art component, and I have not loved the art curriculum that came with this package. The book basket has been hit or miss because unfortunately the recommended books sound great, but they've been really hard to find. It seems as though our library hardly has any of them in stock. So we haven't been doing much with the book basket time. Let's see. There's also vocabulary. We've been doing that. We've been learning some Greek root words, 1 Greek root word each week, and that's been fine, but it just feels kind of random. And so those have been some of the main components of the curriculum we've been using: Bible, vocabulary, history, and art. And it just hasn't been a good fit for us. So I started kind of looking ahead because I was curious about next school year, and I'm already thinking about that, believe it or not. But I was looking into Rome for Reformation, which would be the next course if we decided to stick with my father's world. And looking through the daily lesson plans, it's honestly so similar. The history portion uses pretty much the exact same books we're using this year, the same textbook at least. They do add in Story of the World, but it looks very similar. A lot of different resources being used each day to kind of jump around to. For vocabulary, it focuses on Latin root words. Well, we're already studying Latin, so I didn't really need that. And then the art curriculum is the same as well. So just a lot of things going on. that are very similar to this year that I'm already not loving. And as I researched it more and thought about it, I knew I wasn't going to want to use My Father's World next year. After looking at a few options, researching, watching reviews, talking to some friends, I decided that Mystery of History was going to be what I wanted to try next. And I actually decided that I didn't want to wait until next year. After looking through their curriculum, I kind of planned out and mapped out a plan for the next few years and decided that I wanted to start right away. And maybe that's a bit much. At the time, I hadn't even started using the curriculum yet, and here I was planning out the next 4 to 5 years, but that's just how my brain works. I want to make sure everything's going to fit. And with my son starting 8th grade next year, I was thinking about the history we've studied so far and what he's going to need once he gets to high school. And I was also trying to envision what I could teach my kids combined and things like that. So we did begin this curriculum in November. We started with volume 1, and the plan is, this is what I'm envisioning, the plan is that we are going to go through volume 1 the rest of this year. Now, typically, this is a year-long course, but some of the material in volume 1 we have technically already covered through our current curriculum, and so we are just basically going to be reading through a couple of lessons at a time and picking and choosing which extra activities we want to do as time and interest allows. But the reason I wanted to get through volume 1 this year is so that next year, when my son is in 8th grade and my girls are in 7th, we will study volume 2 together, if all goes well. I might have my youngest listen in with us. I'm not sure yet what my plan is for him, but then we can all do volume 3 together when my oldest is a freshman. His 10th grade year, we'll do something else for U.S. history, and then we'll study volume 4 of the Mystery of History when my oldest is in 11th grade. That's the plan. Assuming I'm going to love this curriculum and everything goes smoothly, which so far it has. I honestly do like it much better, even after having done it for just a month and moving a bit faster through it than I typically would. I will keep you guys posted on how it's going, but let me show you really quickly what I bought and what we're using with this curriculum. Okay, so I have my crate here. I actually have all of our Mystery of History stuff in this crate, so it makes it really easy to just pull out whenever we need to use it. I stuck our history timeline notebooks in here. We were using these. I bought these to use with My Father's World curriculum, and my Mystery of History does have some timeline figures that you can purchase. I forget the company they go through. It's not something they created, but you can purchase timeline figures. So we are still going to try to keep up with some of our timeline. Just as a side note, these books, I do like the idea of them. We need to spread out a little bit more. I feel like some of our timeline things are getting a little bit crowded. This is just one of my daughters, for example. So a lot of stuff that we have been doing has been kind of centered around the, a lot of things happen at the same time, and we have a lot of figures to try to cram in on our timeline. So I like the idea of these books. We're going to keep using them. It's better for us. We used to have a timeline up on the wall, but we were running out of space to do that. So this is a nice way to keep everything compact. And all my kids like to color and do the timeline figures. So instead of just having one timeline that we're making, they all get to have their own little timeline book. So I got these on Amazon. They've been great. We're going to continue to try to use them. Okay, so let me show you real quick. I'm going to dig to the bottom of my bin. When you buy, there's a couple different options. What I bought was the volume 1, and it comes with, so here's the book. Okay, so with the package, you get a textbook, and then it comes with a PDF copy of, I forget what they call it, a companion guide, I think. And in the companion guide, there are tons of resources that you can use to go along with the curriculum. So they have extra activities in there, they have pre-tests, quizzes, just notes about what to do for different age levels if you want to add extra activities in. So I do love that. There's a code that comes in each book that's a one-time use. So I did get one new book, and then I downloaded the companion guide online. I'm pretty sure you can buy the companion guide if you want a hard copy, but we didn't necessarily need all the activities printed out, so I opted not to do that. And then actually, a friend of mine, because I like to have different copies of books for all my kids, because we kind of like to, as we're reading our lesson, we kind of take turns going around the table and reading. So I like all my kids to have a copy to be able to read and look at pictures. So I had another copy of a book that a friend lent me. And then I found this copy at a local homeschool resale library. It's an older version, and we're finding that it doesn't match exactly to the newer version, but it's close enough that my daughter can kind of follow along with it. So all of my kids have a book. And then I also borrowed this from a friend. She lent it to me. This is, again, another old copy. This is second edition. I'm using this for my copy because what I really love about this, and I wish that they still did it this way, because again, this is a thick one. Everything is kind of printed out in here, but it's so handy. So with this book, if you can find an older copy, this has the lessons in here. I mean, it's black and white, so it's not as pretty, but it has the lessons. And then after every lesson, it shows you the activities to do. So all the activities are in there for younger and middle students and then older students, but it's all kind of in order. So I don't have to, I can kind of see at a glance what the activities are. And then if there's extra things that I need to print, I can go do that from my companion guide. So I'm using this as my copy. The package that I bought also came, I think it came with this atlas. I can't remember if I bought this separately, but the Student Bible Atlas, we've already gotten some use out of this. And then this classroom atlas, I actually had this because we're using it for, I think we used it last year for my father's world. So they do recommend having a couple atlases because they do mapping activities. So these come in handy. And then this student notebook. So I purchased this separately as well. They have a student notebook that you can buy. I bought the PDF copy and then I had it bound and printed. Well, I printed it and then I had it bound at our local print shop. I wanted to do one for each of my kids. And I'm pretty sure they have different levels, but I printed off the one that would match for them. And this is basically a notebooking journal. So after every lesson, they have just a page where they fill out information about what we read about or what we learned. So just your basic notebooking journal. But I really love this. We haven't tended to do a lot of notebooking, but this is going really well. And this is another thing I like that my father's world didn't necessarily have. There was maybe one notebooking activity a week or every other week where they, had a sheet where the kids could kind of write down some of the things that they learned about from that lesson, but there wasn't a lot of that. So I like having something after every lesson where they have to write down, it's guided, and some of the pages have different prompts, but it just, I think, helps the material stick a bit more and has, it really makes them think about what they are learning so that they can reproduce that onto a piece of paper. The other thing that I like is that in the companion guide, there are pre-tests and there are quizzes. So after every actually at the end of every week, they have a short quiz going over what you've learned so far. And they've been very easy, but again, just another good way to check in and make sure what we're doing is sticking. I'm not keeping grades on them or anything like that. We're just kind of using them, again, to make sure that we're learning something from the book. I made a binder with my schedule in here so I could kind of plan out since we are going a little bit more quickly, planning out when we're gonna do things, these are the timeline figures. I had some printed out, and there are different varieties of how you want your timeline figures, if you want all the writing on there or if you just want the picture. So that has been kind of nice. And then for each of my kids, I made a binder for them. They recommend having 8 tabs, and you have the different continents on each tab, because for the different mapping activities and different things, you can file them behind one of the tabs. And then we also have a miscellaneous tab, and that's where I have been storing their quizzes, their pre-tests, and things like that. So far, it has been going really well, and I'm excited to see how it continues to go the rest of this year. I'm excited about the change. I don't typically love switching curriculums in the middle of the year. I did that with math a couple of years ago, and that turned out well. And I think, though, that this change was warranted. Like I said, I'll keep you guys posted on how we are liking the mystery of history. Okay, let me give you an update on the My Father's World curriculum I am loving right now, and that's the kindergarten curriculum I'm using with my son. It's going so well. I've mentioned before that I am intentionally moving much slower with my youngest than I did with my oldest when he used this curriculum. I'm really trying to pay attention to him and what he needs, rather than just trying to do too much too soon, because I feel like he should be the smartest kindergartner in the world, like I have something to prove. And this relaxed pace has been so nice. The curriculum has been beautiful. We've gotten into a really great routine with it, and my son honestly is really enjoying it and still excited to do his schoolwork each day. I really do highly recommend this one if you're looking for a kindergarten curriculum. Typically, we're only using this curriculum 4 days a week, and we are not using the science portion. So I'm using the Bible part, math and language arts, the character training parts, and some of the read alouds since we have the books. It's really easy to combine days as we've needed to if we have something going on during the week. And I've just found that a 4-day-a-week schedule is great for us for kindergarten. I'm loving seeing my son learn to read. We are at the part in the curriculum where he's sounding out CVC words, and it's so much fun to see his face light up when he reads a word and then just realizes what he just read. So much fun. And I will say that I am tempted to feel like we are moving too slow or think that he should be reading a lot more right now, but I have to remind myself to trust the process and just relax. So it's been a good year with kindergarten. This year I've been having my kindergartner join in a little bit on science with my 6th graders. If you guys watched my review on science in the beginning from Berean Builders, I think I talked about this there. This is going fine. It's not perfect, but I've been okay with it. Basically, I think that science in the beginning, the reading portion, is a little much for my kindergartner. It's a lot to sit and listen to. Some days it feels like there's a lot of reading, but what I try to do is to summarize the lesson or retell it in a way that's easy for him to understand. The experiments help with that. He does love the experiments, and I also remind myself that this is really just exposing him to some concepts at a broad level right now. I mean, he's just in kindergarten, so I'm perfectly fine if he can't explain to me something like what equilibrium is and what's actually going on when you put salt on top of an ice cube, which we did the other day. He's going to see these topics and concepts again as he gets older. So if you're thinking about using Berean Builders and teaching a very young child with your older kids, like I'm doing, just something to keep in mind. My oldest son has been using Science in the Atomic Age from Berean Builders. This is what my daughters will use next year, and it will not be a good one for my youngest son to use with them. This is definitely a junior high course. The biggest difference is the lab report that kids make for each experiment they do. The lessons are structured pretty similarly. You have some reading and then an experiment every other day or so. But they're taught how to write a lab report to go with each experiment in a pretty precise way. My son has really enjoyed the experiments. This course has been a lot more hands-on than the last science course we did with Science Shepherd. So I think that has been good. And having to follow the structure with the lab reports has been good for him. This course has kind of been a step up in difficulty level for him, but it's not too hard. And it's good practice, I think, for when he gets to high school in just another year or so and things start to count a little bit more. Another thing that's different that I like about this curriculum is that there is an emphasis on studying and teaching kids how to study and prep for tests. There's a test at the end of each unit, and I've been having my son take these to start getting a feel for what this is like and how he handles this type of thing, again, when it doesn't really count yet. So I think those are the major things that are going on right now. We just wrapped up our semester at our homeschool co-op. My kids were in a drama class that did a really great production of the best Christmas pageant ever, and they did such a good job. My friend who directs these plays is so talented and does an amazing job with the kids. I think this is maybe the 8th play that they have done with our co-op, and it's such a fun experience. Co-op will start back up in the new year. I'm actually going to be teaching a PE class, so that will be new. I found a curriculum online that I think I'm going to use, but probably have to modify it a little bit. And then my kids will take drama again. I'm not sure what other co-op classes I'll sign them up for, but they're already looking forward to our next semester of that. I have been teaching Latin this year at my home. I've got just a couple of kids that meet here once a week with my kids, and we're about halfway through second form Latin from Memoria Press. We are taking a break right now through the holidays, and we'll start that back up in the new year. And other than that, honestly, not much changes for us in December for our homeschool. This week, we're taking a couple of days off for some birthdays, and then we'll take off about 2 weeks starting December 23rd. But it's pretty much business as usual. I don't tend to do a lot of holiday-themed lessons or things like that because we have curriculum, and I just like to continue with that, and then sprinkle in our extra holiday activities and traditions, like baking cookies or making treats for teachers, things like that. Okay, I should say that's for my older kids. Now that I think about it, my kindergartner's curriculum actually breaks into a Christmas unit, and we're probably going to do that starting next week. I have to plan that out still. So that will be a little break in his routine. And then the only other thing I'm adding in is one of the Advent unit studies from Sunlight. We are going to do Jotham's Journey this year. But other than that, we just keep on with our typical routine as much as possible. I always try to be a little bit more flexible this time of year though, because a lot of things can tend to pop up, and some days it can be hard to fit everything in the closer we get to Christmas. Did you guys see this yet? Homeschool Planet just announced that they have an app that is live. So it looks like that right there. If you have Homeschool Planet, you probably knew about this. I love using this planner in our homeschool, and it makes things super easy to reschedule lessons when we have a busy day or an unexpected interruption or holiday activities pop up. I typically use Homeschool Planet for my computer, and I still think that that's the easiest way to use it, but now it's at least an option to use from my iPad or phone if I'm not near my computer. I love it. If you haven't downloaded, let's see, I'm going to show you. So it looks just like the calendar on my computer, but it's much easier in a mobile version now. Before you could access the actual website on an iPad or your phone, but it was not as user-friendly. So this is really exciting. If you haven't downloaded it yet, definitely check it out. I will also leave a link in the description below for a free trial of Homeschool Planet in case you are looking for something like this to help you organize your homeschool schedule in the new year. All right, friends, that's it for the November homeschool update. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in checking out my Vlogmas videos this month, I promise to try to post some more holiday content, or at least try to post consistent videos leading up to Christmas. We'll see what I can come up with, but I hope you will tune in if you can. Don't forget that this month you can enter to win the Mystery of History Volume 1 Student Reader and Digital Companion Guide on my blog. The link is in the description below for you to get in on that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.